That's not good. That's not what I wanted to see at all. G'day everyone, and welcome to another BMW E46 vid. On this video, we're going to be pulling apart the headlights on my E46 BMW. I've got some wiring issues to sort out. Also, I want to get some paint onto some of the chrome shiny bits to sort of darken up the whole look of the headlights. Now, this is a job I've been putting off for yonks. Super procrastinating. And why? Because I'm hopeless at electrical work. I'm all fingers and thumbs. Watching me do electrical work is just so painful. I don't know how this video is going to turn out because it's so hard to watch. If you've been thinking about giving the front of your E46 a bit of a facelift, then this is going to be a great video for you, so stick around. A little bit less of this and a bit more action. Let's get cracking. Before we start, I just want to apologise for the possible bad lighting, and the reason for that is because I can't open the garage door because we've got this super rain event, I think they call it, going on outside. Last week when I filmed the Vanos video, it was well over 40 degrees in this garage. Today, we're struggling to get to 25, and in the last 24 hours, we've had 100 mil of rain, which is roughly about 4 inches of rain. Hopefully it turns out all right. We'll find out when we get into post-production. In 2004, BMW brought out a facelift E46, and as part of that, they changed the design of the headlights. On the earlier model, the indicator section here was a separate housing, but on the 2004, it's all part of the one headlight assembly. There's nothing that I'm going to do here, which is going to be different from one model to the next. I am aware that there's a difference. Firstly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the lens off. That's going to give me access to some of the wiring inside, and the problem I've got with the wiring is that some of the wires, the plastic coating has burnt off, and I'm not really sure what's caused it, but what it means is I've been left with some exposed copper wiring within the headlight. Now, I've already done a couple of the wires on the driver's side just to get me out of trouble, and that was a couple of years ago. Now, when you're pulling the lens off, on these headlights, they use almost like a windscreen type black sealant. You've got to heat that sealant up so you can get it apart, and then you can clean the old stuff off, and then before you reassemble it, you can put new stuff in. Now, there's two ways you can heat it up. When I did the other side, I used the first method, which was to stick the whole headlight assembly into the oven until that sealant became soft enough to be able to pull the lens off. But since then, I've run into a bit of an issue where my wife has become aware of me using the kitchen and laundry appliances for my mechanical projects, using the oven to help bake the paint on brake parts, the washing machine for cleaning my oily rags, and the dishwasher for maybe cleaning a couple of car parts. I've been black banned. So what that means is trusty old heat gun. So this is the second method. I'm going to try this. I'm going to use it on the lowest setting and gently heat up around where that silicone is. Get it to a point where it's soft and gooey. That should help me to pull the lens off the headlight assembly. Now, I'm going to be really careful because there are some plastic retaining tabs on the housing and on the lens, and given the age of it, I just know that those plastic clips are going to be hard and aged and brittle. If I broke one, I can super glue it or plastic weld it back in, but if I break two or three, I'm going to be in real strife. The oven or the heat gun. See how we go. That's not good. Well, that's not really what I wanted to see with the wiring inside that headlight. It's a lot worse than what I originally thought. There is no plastic coating on that at all. I'm not really good with electrical stuff. I'm not going to try and pretend that I am good at it. I know my shortcomings. This would be necessary to take this to an electrician, and they may be able to put a new coating on these wires or replace them or something, but it's certainly not a DIY, do it in your garage job, at least not for me. But I've also done a full pull apart on the driver's side headlight. Got to get this right. This is the lens off the driver's side. As you see, it's really milky. Now, I could probably freshen it up, but the problem's not on the outside, it's on the inside. You should be able to see through that almost like glass. And as you can tell, yeah, there is something going on in there. I can write my name on whatever that build-up is in there. You shouldn't clean the inside of your headlight lens, because any slight scratches or marks you can't get out. On the outside it's not too bad, you can correct it, but it's really hard to correct the inside from what I've read. That basically means I'm up for new wiring on the inside, plus a new lens. I end up breaking 2 of the clips. So these headlights are pretty much stuffed, I think. Well, that really hasn't gone as I'd have liked, and I really apologise for that, guys. But that's what working on cars is like sometimes. It doesn't always go to plan, and you get faced with obstacles, and you've got to adapt and adjust your plans to suit what you're confronted with. There's just too much work involved for a set of headlights which are now 15, 16 years old. So moving forward, my plan will be to get a new set of headlights, and I may even be able to get a set of headlights with the smoke finish anyway. Now, I might do a bit of experimenting while I've got this apart on different paint finishes and things like that. So when I get my new set, I'll be right to go. But I'm going to try using the Plasti Dip in a matte black finish to match the matte black on the rest of the plastic bits. From what I've seen on YouTube, the Plasti Dip works extremely well. Bit of experimenting on that, and as I say, I'm really sorry it didn't pan out as I'd have liked. That background noise is my cat having afternoon tea. I've got the radiator to go in, and that's pretty much the last major component to go in under the bonnet. So once I've got that in, I'm going to do a final check through on all the vacuum lines and electrical connectors underneath the bonnet, make sure they're all plugged in and in the right spot. And then I also need to go over the whole car, particularly around suspension and components and brakes, where I've pulled things apart, put new things on, and I've got a Sharpie, one of these paint pens, and I'm going to double check that I've got everything tightened and torqued up underneath there. And once I've done that, we're ready for startup. The headlights aren't going to stop me from starting up the car. The main thing is get that radiator in, and we should be able to move forward from there. Now, as always, if you want to see more BMW E46 content about performance upgrades, maintenance, and to follow the build of my E46 BMW, please consider subscribing and tickle that bell so you get notified each time I upload a new video. If you'd also like to see some of my earlier videos, like in relation to the supercharger install, why don't you click on this video here? But you can also click on the video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy the most by clicking on this video here. As always, I've enjoyed your company. Thank you very much for watching. But until we meet again, look after yourselves, stay safe, and TTFN.